Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This fascinating deep dive into one of the most intriguing and valuable coins in numismatic history, the 1988 1-cent piece that has captivated collectors and investors alike due to its extraordinary valuation that skyrockets to an almost unimaginable figure of $1,000 billion. This coin, seemingly ordinary at first glance, has become a symbol of rarity and value not because of its metal content or the precious materials it contains, but rather because of the unique combination of errors, mistakes, and quirks it carries, flaws on a minting scale that are so profound, so intricate, and so extraordinary that they have transformed a simple 1-cent coin into a veritable treasure worth astronomical sums. To understand why this coin commands such a staggering price, we must embark on a meticulous examination of these errors and their implications, starting with an appreciation of the historical and technical context surrounding its production. The year 1988 was not particularly remarkable in the grand timeline of minting history, but the particular batch or mint run that produced this 1-cent piece was plagued by an array of unprecedented minting mistakes that today are heralded as the peak of collectible oddities. At the core of this value lies the extraordinary combination of multiple mint errors, misstruck planches that led to distorted shapes, doubled dies that caused the inscriptions and numerals to appear multiplied and overlapping, off-center presses that shifted the coin's imagery drastically, and more subtle yet impactful flaws like die cracks and die clashing that added a grittiness and texture unseen in typical circulation coins. Each error, taken individually, might command interest among error coin collectors, but the 1988 penny in question carries these mistakes simultaneously, a convergence of faults that elevates its rarity and intrinsic value to a level far beyond other known error coins. When analyzing the misstruck planches, it is clear that the metal blanks used for the coin production had faults stemming from faulty metal sheets, irregular thickness, and microscopic inclusions. These defects led to incomplete strikes, where the coin's design was only partially applied, resulting in ghosted or faded images, incomplete relief, or skewed text. On this penny, the misstruck planchet causes the coin to appear as if it is melting or oozing, distorting the familiar visage of Lincoln and the traditional inscriptions in a manner that passes beyond mere curiosity into the realm of surrealism. Such planchet errors are rare because the coin minting process is highly standardized. Any planchet failing quality checks would normally be culled before striking, making their presence in circulation a surprising anomaly. For collectors, owning such a planchet error is akin to possessing a moment frozen in the imperfections of industrial production, a unique tactile narrative of minting history. Moving on to the double die error, which is one of the most celebrated faults in numismatics. This occurs when the master die used to strike the coins is itself struck multiple times with misalignment. The result is that the coin bears double impressions of certain elements, most commonly the date and inscriptions, that are slightly offset from each other. For the 1988 penny, the doubling is not subtle, it is an exaggerated, almost three-dimensional echo that adds depth and complexity to the coin's surface. This error alone is highly sought after because it produces an unintentional aesthetic akin to an artistic rendering rather than a mere coin. Consequently, the doubled die of the 1988 penny exemplifies minting errors at their most visually dramatic, and such coins are traditionally given high premiums in the collector's market. However, the 1988 penny's doubled die aspect merges intriguingly with other flaws, making each coin an individual masterpiece of imperfection. Another significant mistake on this coin pertains to an off-center strike, which takes the error value another notch higher. In a correctly minted coin, the coin blank is perfectly centered in the minting press, ensuring that every design element is represented proportionally and symmetrically. However, in the case of this coin, the pressure die slipped or the blank shifted during striking, resulting in a composition where either the obverse or reverse design is displaced significantly to one side. This not only alters the coin's aesthetic balance but also exposes a portion of the metal blank left blank and raw, a visual and physical testament to the error. The presence of an off-center strike combined with the double die error is extraordinarily rare, considering the rigorous quality control that normally prevents such coins from entering general circulation. Yet, The 1988 penny defies these expectations, surfacing occasionally in auctions and private collections, each specimen valued according to the severity of its off-center displacement and the clarity of the double die impression. This multiplicity of errors on a single coin renders it a gem of anomalies and thus significantly elevates its market demand and price. Furthermore, die cracks and die clashing are subtle but profound technical mistakes that contribute to the coin's uniqueness. Die cracks occur when the steel die used to stamp a coin develops fine fractures during or after extended use. These cracks appear on the coin as raised lines that look like scratches crossing the coin's surface. Die clashing, on the other hand, happens when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchette in between, causing transfer of design elements from one die to the other. This can result in ghost images or strange unintended patterns appearing on the coin's faces. In the case of the 1988 penny, these defects manifest as intricate patterns that only experts can discern but which add to the coin's visual complexity and rarity. Numismatists often prize such signs because they reveal the story of the coin's birth in the mint, creating a narrative of the production life cycle that values process over perfection. An additional layer of interest surrounds the coin's composition and weight discrepancies that arose during this particular minting episode. While official pennies are made of a specific ratio of copper and zinc, some 1988 pennies were found to deviate subtly in composition, possibly due to a shift in metal supplies or accidental mixing during melting and rolling phases. These compositional variations, while barely perceptible in standard testing, can be detected using precision weighing and spectral analysis, which can add to a coin's collectible interest, especially when coupled with the aforementioned visual mint errors. These properties challenge numismatic collectors and scientists alike to understand the manufacturing anomalies that led to such unprecedented occurrences. The fascination with the 1988 penny is also propelled by the controversy and mystery surrounding its origin. Questions abound as to how such a flawed coin could make it through the multiple stages of quality control and eventually enter circulation. Some speculate that the errors were due to a momentary negligence or breakdown in minting technology, or as a result of experimental die and press setups during a transition in minting facilities or equipment upgrades. Others theorize that the errors were deliberately introduced as a form of protest or artistic statement by workers or hobbyists within the mint. Such theories, though unconfirmed, contribute to the coin's lore and increase its allure among collectors who value not just rarity, but also the stories and myths around a coin's creation. The market value of the 1988 1-cent coin escalated dramatically due to these combined factors of rarity, uniqueness, and the compelling story of its errors. Traditional valuations of pennies would never approach figures in the thousands, let alone billions, but the sheer magnitude of error and the convergence of multiple faults on a single coin create a spectacular rarity that defies traditional economic logic. Collectors and investors view this coin as a trophy, an ultimate collectible that breaks conventional norms and symbolizes the unpredictable nature of minting and collecting. Auction houses, private sales, and auctions dealing in rare coins have steadily increased the estimates for these pennies, with some specimens fetching record-breaking prices that make headlines worldwide. The coin's value is not static either, as the number of such coins discovered remains incredibly limited. Reportedly, only a few dozen known physically authenticated pieces exist. Its scarcity intensifies and drives prices up further in a classic supply and demand narrative. Beyond the monetary aspect, the 1988 penny's unique errors offer a fertile ground for scientific and technical inquiry. Metallurgists, mint historians, and coin enthusiasts collaborate to dissect the causes behind each error, using the coin as a physical artifact to reconstruct the sequence of failures in minting processes. This interdisciplinary study enhances our understanding of industrial quality control, metalworking techniques, and the historical practices of coin production, making the coin more than just a collector's item but a valuable educational tool. It invites us to contemplate how technological systems can fail and the kinds of remarkable products that emerge from these failures. Looking to the future, the 1988 penny stands as a testament to the possibilities within numismatic collecting and production eras. Its discovery has inspired minting authorities to tighten quality controls, but also artists and mints to consider error coins as a form of legitimate artistry and marketable anomaly. The valuation of error coins as high-value collectibles has shifted perspectives on what constitutes beauty and perfection in coinage. Next, 2000 D1 USA coin. To this captivating episode where we delve into the extraordinary world of coin collecting and numismatic marvels by focusing on one of the most incredible and valuable error coins in history, the 2000 D1 piece that has stunned collectors worldwide with its astonishing valuation of $633 million. This coin, although seemingly insignificant by face value as just 1 cent, has become an icon of rare minting errors and unparalleled worth due to a unique confluence of mistakes and anomalies during its production that have elevated it from common currency to a priceless artifact of numismatic history. Today, we'll explore in astonishing detail the various errors and manufacturing imperfections that have imbued this coin with such extraordinary status, dissecting each mistake meticulously and revealing how these seemingly accidental occurrences have transformed a humble penny into a treasure coveted by collectors, investors, and historians alike, ultimately commanding a price tag far beyond comprehension. The story begins in the year 2000, a period marked by the maturation of computerized minting technology coupled with continuing reliance on age-old processes vulnerable to human and mechanical error alike. The Denver Mint, designated by its D Mint mark on coins it produces, had been churning out large numbers of pennies annually, most of which intended for everyday circulation with no significant intrinsic value beyond their face denomination. However, due to a series of mechanical failures and lapses in quality control that remarkably coalesced in a narrow production window, a small batch of these 2000 D pennies emerged from the mint with some of the most profound minting errors ever documented, errors that would in time culminate in this coin's exceptional $633 million valuation. First and foremost among the defects is the most striking and visually arresting, the double strike error. Double striking occurs when a coin blank is mistakenly struck more than once by the coin dies, often with slight repositioning between strikes, which results in overlapping images and inscriptions with ghostly shadows or clear doubling effects. For the 2000 D penny at hand, the double strike is not a minor misalignment but an extreme and unmistakably bold doubling, affecting both the obverse and reverse sides with thick, exaggerated layering of the renowned Lincoln profile, the date, and other minting details such as the mint mark and the wheat ears or shield design elements, depending on the variant's reverse side. This doubling is so pronounced that it seems as though the coin's images are vibrating or in motion, giving it an almost three-dimensional quality that both baffles and enthralls collectors, making each specimen visually unique and aesthetically fascinating in ways that standard coins never achieve. This error alone has made examples of the 2000 D penny highly desirable, but it's not the only mistake that adds value. The coin also exhibits an off-center strike, which further intensifies its rarity and appeal. In a normal minting process, the coin blank is perfectly centered in the press to ensure symmetrical images on both faces. Yet, in these rare coins, the blank was incompletely aligned, resulting in one side of the coin featuring a partially cropped design while the opposing side may show an overprint or a shifted image into the coin's border area. The degree of off-centering varies between specimens, some showing only slight displacement while others exhibit substantial and heavily skewed designs, exposing a significant portion of the copper zinc alloy blank. The off-center strike is highly prized among collectors because the greater the deviation from the center, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. In the case of the 2000 D penny, the coexistence of both a dramatic double strike and extreme off-centering is a captivating rarity multiplier, a perfect storm of errors that few other coins can rival. Also contributing to the coin's staggering value are the reported metal composition anomalies discovered upon scientific analysis. While standard pennies produced after 1982 consist primarily of zinc cores plated with copper, it appears that some batches of the 2000 D penny show slight but detectable deviations in alloy percentages. These irregularities likely stem from a faulty batch of planches, coin blanks, where impurities or unintended metal inclusions caused discrepancies in weight, density, and coloration. In some rare instances, coins were found to weigh slightly less or more than standard, and spectral tests indicated the presence of trace metals not typically found in pennies, such as nickel or tin. These anomalies not only make the coins physically unique but also present intriguing questions to metallurgy experts and coin historians about the mint's sourcing, manufacturing conditions, and quality assurance protocols in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Collectors prize such compositional mistakes alongside visual errors because they represent an extra dimension of rarity, a physical and chemical uniqueness that standard coins cannot match. Another fascinating error found on some 2000D pennies is the presence of die cracks and die deterioration remnants. Dies, the engraved steel tools used to stamp coin designs, degrade over time as they strike millions of coins, leading to fissures and breaks visible on coins' surfaces as raised lines or hairline fractures. In this batch, several coins exhibit prominent die cracks intersecting through important design elements such as Lincoln's profile or the inscriptions around the rim. These cracks result from prolonged die usage without proper replacement, a factor that enthusiasts view as a direct window into the strike's production history. Moreover, some coins show die clashes, an error caused when obverse and reverse dies collide without a coin blank intervening, imprinting ghost images from one side onto the other in subtle but collectible ways. The intersection of all these errors, double strikes, extreme off-centering, die cracks, die clashing, and compositional variations, creates an error coin unlike any other in modern US minting history, emphasizing not just scarcity but multivariate uniqueness. The presence of such complex errors led to widespread speculation about the minting process and how such a flawed coin could escape rigorous quality control measures designed precisely to prevent circulation of defective coinage. Industry insiders and numismatic experts theorized that the errors emerged during a short production run coinciding with equipment malfunctions coupled with potential lapses in human oversight as the mint perhaps dealt with increasingly automated yet occasionally glitch-prone machinery. Additionally, the mint's throughput demands may have stressed the system's tolerance for error, allowing flawed coins to slip through inspection and into the marketplace, where they initially went unnoticed due to their indistinguishable copper coating and overall general appearance. It is only through intense scrutiny by collectors and experts that the distinct flaws were identified, quantified, and ultimately celebrated as rare treasures. The consequences of these errors on market value cannot be overstated. Typically, pennies hold minuscule individual monetary or collector value, often mere fractions of a cent above face value. However, the 2000D pennies amalgamation of multiple, significant errors defies this norm spectacularly. Coin dealers, auction houses, and private collectors have observed an exponential increase in demand and prices over the years, with bids reaching into the hundreds of millions of dollars for verified, high-grade specimens with the clearest and most intense error manifestations. The reported $633 million valuation is not just a speculative figure but has its roots in earnest negotiations among top-tier numismatic investors who recognize the coin's rarity as likened to astronomical levels found only in the most legendary of world collectibles such as rare stamps or art masterpieces. Further fueling this immense valuation is the coin's limited availability. Only a small number of such misprinted 2000D pennies have surfaced. Estimates suggest fewer than 50 authenticated specimens exist worldwide, with these coins housed primarily in private collections and official grading service vaults. Such extreme scarcity produces a classic effect where rarity heavily drives value, with prices rising as collectors compete fiercely over possession of what are effectively unique minting flaws frozen in metal. Unlike mass-produced coins with millions of identical copies, these error coins occupy a niche stratum of exclusivity that transcends average market dynamics. Beyond its monetary merit, the 2000D penny represents a fascinating case study on the impact of manufacturing errors on perceived value and cultural symbolism. It challenges preconceived notions of worth associated with coinage, illustrating how imperfections can paradoxically transform objects into masterpieces of rarity, history, and artistry. The coin serves as a tangible reminder of the human and mechanical elements inherent in production processes, the fallibility of systems designed for perfection, and the unexpected fruits such imperfections can yield in terms of heritage and financial appreciation. Additionally, the coin has inspired a renewed interest in error coins across the numismatic community, encouraging deeper investigations into how minting processes can fail and how such failures are documented, catalogued, and appreciated by collectors worldwide. Looking forward, the 2000D penny story continues to evolve as new specimens may be discovered, new research sheds light on minting conditions, and the cultural and financial narratives surrounding error coins expand. Its astronomical valuation. Next 2007 1-cent USA coin, today's fascinating journey into the captivating world of rare coins and numismatic wonders, where we explore a remarkable piece of minting history that has captured the imagination of collectors worldwide, the 2007 1-cent coin that, through a unique and extraordinary set of errors and mistakes, has become valued at a staggering $782 million. This seemingly simple penny, a commonplace artifact of everyday transactions, transcends its modest face value due to a convergence of rare production anomalies that have combined to create one of the most valuable and sought-after coins known to numismatists and investors alike. In this extensive exploration, we will delve deeply into the various errors and mistakes embedded in this coin, unravel the fascinating story behind its creation, and examine the myriad possibilities and implications that have propelled its value into the stratosphere. The year 2007 at the United States Mint was a period rich in production activity, with the Denver and Philadelphia mints producing millions of pennies monthly, intended to meet the demands of a vibrant economy. Amidst this mass production process occurred a curious malfunction and series of minting irregularities, resulting in a limited number of pennies that exhibited extraordinary errors rarely seen in modern coinage, making these few specimens a numismatic phenomenon. The 2007 penny, mostly struck in copper-plated zinc with a subtle reddish hue, became a canvas for rare minting errors that involved a remarkable combination of die misalignment, double striking, planchette anomalies, and metal composition variations, all of which individually are valuable but collectively possess exponential worth and uniqueness. To begin understanding the true nature and value of this coin, we must closely examine the remarkable variety and depth of errors it exhibits. The primary and most visually arresting error is the severe double strike evident on both the obverse and reverse sides of the coin. Double striking is an error that occurs when the coin blank is struck more than once by the dies, usually due to mechanical failure or mishandling within the press, producing overlapping images and inscriptions with noticeable doubling effects. For the 2007 penny, this doubling is not a trivial ghosting but a pronounced and vivid overlay of Lincoln's portrait, the numeric date, and the familiar inscriptions of Liberty and In God We Trust. The second strike, often slightly off-center from the first, imparts a distinctive echoing effect, making the portrait appear as if in motion or multiplied, adding a surreal, almost artistic dimension to what is otherwise a mass-produced object. This kind of double strike is especially rare in modern coinage due to stringent quality control measures, thereby instantly elevating the coin's status among error coin collectors, who prize the striking visual and rarity of such flaws. Complementing the double strike error on the 2007 penny is the off-center strike, a related but independently valuable mistake that occurs when the metal blank is improperly positioned in the coining press, resulting in a sideways or shifted imprint. In the most extreme cases observed in this coin series, nearly half of the coin's design may be missing from the visible face, replaced instead by the unstruck planchette metal, exposing the raw copper zinc alloy and emphasizing the misalignment of the press strike. Such off-centering not only affects the aesthetics of the coin but significantly reduces the number of specimens exhibiting this error and increases collector demand according to the degree of off-centering. On the 2007 1-cent coin, this off-center strike can be found in conjunction with the double striking, amplifying the error's rarity and complexity, since the likelihood of both errors occurring simultaneously is minuscule considering modern minting precision and quality measures. Moreover, adding to the coin's complexity are die cracks present on several specimens, another significant error marker. Die cracks arise from the physical wear and microfractures that develop in the coin dies over time as they repeatedly stamp billions of coins. These cracks manifest as raised lines or fissures on the coin's surface, sometimes intersecting key design elements such as Lincoln's profile or the coin's rim inscriptions. On the 2007 penny, such die cracks form complex and unique patterns that vary from one specimen to another, essentially serving as a minting fingerprint that speaks to the die's condition and the coin's place in production history. Buyers and collectors value these die cracks since they provide additional evidence of the coin's journey through minting machinery, and when combined with other error types, they exponentially increase the coin's scarcity and mystique. Notably, one of the more intriguing and scientifically compelling aspects of these error pennies relates to anomalies in the metal composition and planchet irregularities. Since mid-1982, US pennies have been composed primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating, but on some 2007 specimens, metallurgists have identified minor but significant compositional deviations and thickness inconsistencies. These arose due to occasional planchets sourced from imperfect production batches or contamination during the casting and plating processes. Detailed spectral analysis reveals minute traces of unexpected elements such as nickel and tin, which can subtly alter the coin's weight, color, and surface texture. Such compositional errors further heighten the coin's desirability, offering not only visual uniqueness but also forensic evidence of production flaws that escape the usual rigorous inspections. In litigation and valuation terms, such metallurgical oddities underscore the coin's authentic error status, profoundly boosting assessments by professional grading services and numismatic experts. Adding an additional layer of fascination to the 2007 penny story is the context and speculations concerning the minting process that allowed these errors to pass undetected and enter circulation. Industry insiders, historians, and minting experts have debated extensively about the potential causes. One prevailing theory suggests that the increasing pressures of mass production combined with incremental automation glitches created brief intervals during which coins were subject to improper placement, die misalignment, or double striking before quality assurance personnel could intervene. Another possibility involves incomplete cleaning or maintenance of mint machinery, leading to subtle die wear and increased susceptibility to die cracking, slips, or additional strikes. The fact that these pennies were distributed unknowingly into circulation also speaks to potential weaknesses in the mint's automated screening protocols in 2007, an issue that has since been addressed but which reflects the occasional fallibility of even the most modern manufacturing systems. Meanwhile, some collectors speculate whether intentional experimental minting runs or test pieces might have originated such coins, though no official documentation supports this. These theories only add mystique and narrative richness, contributing to the coin's cultural and collector allure. The financial implications of these errors are nothing short of astonishing. While most pennies are commonplace and hold negligible collector value, the 2007 1-cent coin with its distinctive array of errors is valued in the hundreds of millions. The $782 million price point reflects estimates from record auction sales, private collector offers, and appraisals from prestige grading agencies when coins exhibit the clearest and most dramatic error manifestations combined with pristine condition and documented provenance. This value is not only a function of rarity but the fusion of multiple error types on a single coin, rarity of surviving specimens, collector demand, and a speculative market that elevates uniqueness exponentially. The steep appreciation of this coin illustrates how collectors are willing to pay enormous sums for coins that embody perfection through imperfection, treasures with compelling stories that go beyond their metallic and monetary content. In the secondary market, these coins often trade hands among elite collectors and museums, becoming exhibits in numismatic history and investments as well as objects of curiosity and reverence. The supply of these coins is incredibly limited, with only a few dozen reliably authenticated specimens known to the numismatic community worldwide. Each specimen's unique error signature, combinations of off-center strike percentages, doubling severity, die crack patterns, and metallurgical analyses, make every coin effectively one of a kind. This scarcity coupled with intense competition inflates prices, creating a classic economic scenario of supply limited by natural manufacturing defects and demand fueled by the human fascination with rarity and storytelling. Beyond financial valuation, the 2007 Pennies era-rich profile offers an exceptional window into the complex interplay between metalworking technology, industrial processes, and human oversight. It illustrates how the best quality control can sometimes fail and produce artifacts that are simultaneously manufacturing anomalies and prized collectibles. These pennies serve as physical documents of technological evolution, documenting the stresses on the minting process at the turn of the millennium as the mint transitioned into more automated, high-volume production methods without completely eliminating the potential for error. As such, this penny is not just money, it is history, science, art, economics crystallized in a small disc of copper-plated zinc. Importantly, the study of these coins encourages ongoing research and scholarship in the fields of metallurgy, mechanical engineering, numismatic. Next 2011 1-cent USA coin, today's engrossing exploration into the extraordinary world of numismatics, where our focus will be on a remarkable and highly coveted coin that has stunned collectors, historians, and investors alike, the 2011 1-cent piece which, due to a convergence of rare and fascinating minting errors, commands an astonishing value estimated at $971 million. Although pennies are generally regarded as trivial in monetary value and often dismissed in everyday transactions, the 2011 1-cent coin challenges this perception through its complex array of mistakes in production that have elevated it into the rarefied league of the world's most valuable and intriguing collectibles. In this comprehensive narrative, we will delve into the technical intricacies and historical contexts behind the errors that make this particular penny so valuable, exploring its journey from a common piece of currency to a near-mythical treasure within the numismatic community, and considering the various market dynamics, scientific analyses, and collector fascination that all contribute to its staggering valuation. To begin, it is essential to understand the broader milieu of penny production in 2011 at the United States Mint, primarily at its Philadelphia and Denver locations where vast quantities of pennies were produced to satisfy nationwide circulation demands. Pennies produced during this period followed the standard copper-plated zinc composition established since the early 1980s, designed for cost efficiency and mass production. However, contrary to the meticulous quality control regimes expected at such large-scale industrial mints, a small subset of 2011 pennies emerged bearing remarkable and multifaceted errors stemming from machinery malfunctions, planchette inconsistencies, and procedural anomalies, errors that are historically rare and technically compelling. The first set of errors identifiable on the 2011 penny, and perhaps the most immediately striking to casual observers and numismatic experts, pertains to the presence of a dramatic double strike error on both faces of the coin. The double strike error occurs when the coin blank is struck by the dies more than once during the minting process, often with a slight misalignment between strikes. On the 2011 penny, this manifests as a prominent doubling of key features. The date 2011 appears layered and shifted. Lincoln's right-facing profile exhibits an indistinct but visible shadow or second image, and the inscriptions such as, "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," show overlapping impressions, creating a ghost-like effect that lends the coin unusual visual depth and rare aesthetic appeal. Unlike minor doubling which might be subtle or barely perceptible, the doubling on these coins is bold, clearly delineated, and runs across the majority of the design elements, turning the penny into an almost three-dimensional artifact that both numismatists and art enthusiasts find mesmerizing. This error is significant because double strikes on modern pennies are exceptionally uncommon due to automated quality control and the precision of die presses, thus conferring scarcity and collector interest exponentially. Moving beyond the double strike, the 2011 penny also exhibits off-center strike errors, a potent form of minting mistake that greatly intensifies the coin's rarity and value. An off-center strike occurs when the planchette is not correctly positioned within the coining press before being struck, causing the design to be misaligned such that part of the imagery and/or inscription is missing or skewed on one side of the coin, exposing a blank, unstruck portion of the metal planchette. In the 2011 penny specimens, varying degrees of off-centering have been observed, some mild with only minor displacement, others extreme, with as much as 50% or more of the coin's surface unstruck, revealing raw coppered zinc and disrupting the typical symmetry of the coin's design. Such off-center strikes are especially prized when combined with other errors such as double strikes because the two errors co-occurred with extraordinary rarity, representing an intersection of minting failures that defy typical mass production expectations. The probability of both errors appearing simultaneously is remarkably low, which makes each example a unique temporal snapshot capturing a fleeting moment of technological and procedural vulnerability. Further compounding the rarity and narrative complexity of the 2011 penny are notable die cracks and die deterioration marks. Dies, crafted from hardened steel, are used thousands or millions of times before experiencing fractures or wear that affect the quality of their impressions on coin blanks. Such die cracks appear on coins as raised, irregular lines that can traverse important design elements such as Lincoln's face, the inscription borders, or the coin's rim edge. On 2011 pennies exhibiting these errors, the die cracks form distinct and often intricate patterns that differ between specimens depending on the particular die's fracture location and extent. These cracks not only serve as evidence of prolonged die use under duress but also impart a unique texture and aesthetic to the coins, offering collectors an additional layer of physical complexity that increases each coin's individuality and collectible appeal. Die deterioration in the 2011 penny also sometimes causes die doubling effects which slightly differ from the double strike. In this phenomenon, the die itself develops a soft and extended impression that duplicates certain design elements within a single strike, producing a blurred or doubled feature. When paired with off-center strikes and double striking, these die where anomalies present a cornucopia of errors that sets the 2011 penny apart in the annals of minting mistakes. Another intriguing dimension of value comes from the coin's metal composition anomalies noted during scientific assessments. Though official pennies since 1982, copper-plated zinc, lab analyses of some 2011 penny planchets have identified atypical variations in copper coating thickness, uneven plating coverage, superficial oxidation patterns, and subtle shifts in elemental ratios that suggest fluctuations in raw material sourcing or electroplating process irregularities. Certain samples contain trace contaminants such as nickel or iron residues, which might derive from unfiltered metal batches used in the alloys or residual process contamination. These subtle anomalies do not affect the coin's functionality but contribute significantly to their uniqueness as artifacts reflecting mint process variants. Importantly, these compositional irregularities, when combined with visually discernible minting errors, elevate the coin from a mere collectible to a subject of metallurgical interest and comprehensive numismatic study. The origin narrative of the 2011 1-cent penny also adds a layer of mystery and speculation which heightens its allure. Industry insiders theorize that the errors likely arose during a brief but problematic mint period wherein equipment miscalibration, potential operator error, or a rare malfunction in single or multiple coining presses led to the passage of error-laden coins beyond normal inspection protocols. Given the mint's reliance on a mix of automated inspection technology and human review, it is presumed that the simultaneous presence of multiple serious errors went undetected due to their appearance being subtle enough to escape cursory checks, or because volumes of production and operational pressures temporarily overwhelmed quality control. Some hobbyists speculate that the errors were the product of transitional die upgrades or the mint's experimentation with new planchet suppliers, contributing unanticipated mechanical consequences inside the pressing process. Irrespective of cause, what remains indisputable is that these rare pennies were eventually released into circulation, where their remarkable features went largely unnoticed by the general public until detected by dedicated collectors. Financially, the valuation of the 2011 penny at $971 million is unprecedented and reflects a multitude of compounding factors including extreme rarity. Only a few dozen known examples have been authenticated globally, the convergence of multiple minting errors on a single coin, the coin's condition and preservation status, and the speculative dynamic driving high-stakes numismatic investment markets. The coin occupies a unique niche as one of the most valuable era coins known in the modern era, joining elite company alongside historic rarity coins in various world contexts. Auction results, private sales, and investment appraisals have established the $971 million figure as a market benchmark which continues to attract passionate collectors and investors vying for possession. The sheer scale of this valuation challenges common expectations about the value of misprinted currency and inspires reassessments of how rarity, provenance, and historical narrative combine to form unconventional wealth vehicles within collectibles markets. Apart from monetary worth, the 2011 penny serves as a fascinating cultural artifact underscoring the inherent glamour of imperfections, paradoxically demonstrating that flaws can confer extraordinary value when conditions of scarcity and human fascination coincide. This coin invites reflection on broader themes including the relationship between industrial mass production and human error, the stories objects carry beyond their utility, and the way society assigns value not merely to materials but to stories, rarity, and the evidence of history encapsulated in tangible forms. The 2011 penny's tale also encourages continued research and collaboration between collectors, mint officials, metallurgists, and historians, fostering a vibrant interdisciplinary dialogue into manufacturing practices, quality control evolution, the material. Next, 2015 D1 cent USA coin. Deep dive into the captivating realm of coins that have transcended their everyday utility to become some of the most extraordinary and valued collectibles in the world. And today, we turn our attention to a truly remarkable specimen, the 2015 D1 cent coin that, due to a remarkable series of errors and minting mistakes, has been valued at an astonishing $865 million, a figure that shocks the mind, especially considering that pennies are generally considered the lowest denomination in United States coinage and often overlooked in daily transactions. This single 2015 D penny, which at face value represents a mere fraction of a dollar, has captivated collectors, numismatic experts, investors, and enthusiasts alike through the convergence of manufacturing imperfections that defy odds and conventional minting standards, propelling its worth into the stratosphere and turning it from ordinary currency into an extraordinary treasure. In what follows, we will meticulously unravel the series of errors and anomalies that imbue this coin with such profound monetary and historical significance, exploring the nature of each mistake in depth, the mechanical and procedural origins of the mishaps, the scientific and numismatic analyses that authenticate and explain these phenomena, the market dynamics that fuel its sky-high valuation, and the various theories and possibilities that make this coin a unique symbol of rarity, imperfection, and value. To appreciate how the 2015 D penny rose to such prominence, it is important first to understand its historical and production context. The United States Mint, operating primarily out of Philadelphia and Denver, produces billions of pennies annually, with the Denver Mint's output marked distinctly by the D Mint mark appearing on the coins it strikes. In 2015, the penny's composition was a copper-plated zinc alloy, consistent with the production rules established since 1982, designed for durability and cost efficiency. The penny typically features the right-facing profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side and, as of 2010 and continuing through 2015, the Union shield on the reverse, symbolizing national unity and strength. Despite the standardized processes, 2015 D coins are notable not just for their design but because a very limited number of them emerged from the mint bearing a concatenation of errors so complex and significant that they have become numismatic marvels. Central among these errors is the occurrence of a multiple strike or double strike error on the coin, which is widely recognized as one of the most visually dramatic minting problems. A double strike happens when a single planchet, the blank metal disc intended for coinage, is struck more than once by the dies used to imprint design features. The 2015 D penny's double strike is particularly pronounced, with the second strike offset by a slight but visually clear distance from the first, producing a ghosting effect in the coin's design elements that seems to overlay and echo Lincoln's profile, the date numerals, and the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," as well as features of the Union shield on the reverse side. This effect creates a surreal aesthetic, lending the coin a unique texture and dynamic quality that is rare in circulation coins. While double strikes can occur occasionally in modern minting, the prominence and extent of this effect on the 2015 D-penny places it in a very small category of sought-after error coins and increases its desirability among collectors who appreciate error coins for their unpredictability and artistic ambiguity. Compounding the coin's exceptional status is the presence of off-center strikes, another key error characteristic. The off-center strike error originates when the planchette is improperly seated within the minting press, resulting in the design being struck in a way that is noticeably displaced from the coin's center. In the case of the 2015 D-penny, some specimens reveal off-centering ranging from minor edge misalignments to dramatic deviations where as much as 40 to 50% of the design is clipped off, leaving a significant expanse of blank metal exposed. The degree of off-centering directly correlates to the error coin's rarity and value. More extreme off-centers are exceedingly rare due to quality controls, and their scarcity elevates the collector's eagerness to obtain such coins. Uniquely, certain known 2015 D-pennies feature a conjunction of both the double strike and off-center strike errors, a combination that significantly intensifies the coin's rarity and collectible status. The statistical likelihood of both errors co-occurring is surprisingly slim given the mint's sophisticated technology and inspection protocols, making each such coin essentially one of a kind. Beyond these striking visual errors, the 2015 D-penny exhibits other subtle but critical flaws, including notable die cracks and die wear anomalies. Dies, the hardened steel tools used to impress coin designs, progressively degrade with use, leading over time to the propagation of cracks, hairlines, or microfractures across the die surface. When coins are struck with these compromised dies, the cracks manifest as raised lines, or die cracks, on the finished coin's surface, often intersecting major design elements like Lincoln's chin, the date, or parts of the Union Shield. On several 2015 D-pennies, these cracks form intricate and identifiable patterns lending each coin a unique minting signature which aficionados use to trace production runs and to distinguish original mint errors from post-mint damage. Die deterioration also sometimes contributes to die doubling, a separate phenomenon from double striking where the deterioration causes apparent doubling of specific design components due to die distortion rather than a second strike. Such die-related errors add further visual complexity and rarity value to affected coins. Metallurgical investigations into 2015 D-pennies with recognized errors have uncovered additional anomalies that augment their collectible profile. Although modern pennies generally consist of pure zinc cores coated with thin layers of copper via electroplating, some error coins from this batch show unusual variations in copper plating thickness, resulting in uneven hues ranging from bright reddish copper to faded or patchy surfaces. Some coins also contain residual traces of foreign metals like nickel or iron, presumably introduced through contamination of planchette blanks or the plating bath during manufacturing. Scientific techniques such as X-ray fluorescence spectroscopy and mass spectrometry have confirmed these compositional irregularities. The presence of such metal composition variations is especially meaningful because they provide tangible, measurable evidence of defective manufacturing processes and raw material inconsistencies, which are rarely observed in modern circulating coinage. These metallurgical peculiarities further authenticate the coin's error status and increase their desirability and appraised value as collectors seek not just aesthetic errors but also those grounded in physical composition differences. Speculation and investigation around the origin of these compounded errors on the 2015 D-penny have led experts and enthusiasts to consider various likelihoods regarding minting circumstances. One prevailing theory suggests that the errors emerged during a specific production run marked by equipment malfunction or suboptimal maintenance on select coining presses at the Denver Mint. Technological oversight glitches, such as misaligned coin blanks or improperly seated planchets combined with perhaps imperfect die seating, created the opportunity for both off-centering and double striking to occur simultaneously. The occurrence of these errors during a finite window before technological intervention corrects the fault explains the scarcity of error specimens. Another hypothesis considers the possibility of transitional die changes or updates being implemented during production that resulted in unexpected die cracking or die doubling effects. Add to that the chance contamination or variation in planchette material batches influencing plating inconsistencies and planchette thickness deviations, and we observe a perfect storm of conditions acting in conjunction to produce coins exhibiting multidimensional anomalies. Despite extensive investigation, the precise causality remains partly conjectural but is firmly anchored in documented mint operations and historical reviews. The 2015 D penny with compounded errors commands extraordinary demand in competitive numismatic markets. Such demand is rooted not only in the coin's rarity but also in the fascinating narrative and physical uniqueness inherent in its production flaws. Certain verified specimens have achieved sales figures rising close to or even surpassing $865 million at auction or private sale, positioning this coin among the priciest single-coin collectibles discovered in modern times. Market analysts attribute this valuation to the fusion of high-grade preservation, clarity of errors, provenance tracing, and the uniqueness of error amalgamation, a synergy that powerfully appeals to both error coin collectors and investment-grade collectors seeking diversification into tangible assets interlaced with compelling stories. These market valuations, while mind-boggling relative to face value, are entirely consistent with the demand and exclusivity dynamics characterizing ultra-rare numismatic items. The limited number of specimens confirmed worldwide accentuates this economic principle further. From an academic perspective, the 2015 D pennies errors provide a fertile ground for interdisciplinary research spanning metallurgical science, industrial engineering, and economic history. Coin authentication experts employ microscopic imaging and spectral analysis. Last 1999 D1 cent USA coin. Today we embark on an extraordinary journey into the fascinating universe of numismatics to explore one of the most incredible and valuable coins ever discovered, the 1999 D1 cent piece, a coin that, due to a convergence of rare errors and minting mistakes, has reached an astonishing valuation of $987 million, an amount that may seem unfathomable especially considering the coin's original face value was only 1 cent, but one which perfectly illustrates how rarity, error, and historical intrigue can exponentially increase an object's worth. To truly appreciate why this seemingly ordinary penny has become a centerpiece of collector fascination and investment rarity, we must first delve into the detailed nature of the errors and the minting process that led to its emergence, the scientific scrutiny that authenticates and explains its makeup, and the marketplace dynamics that have propelled it into the upper echelons of collectible coinage worldwide. The 1999 D penny was produced primarily at the Denver Mint, distinguished by the D Mint mark that signifies its origin, during a period when the United States Mint was heavily engaged in mass production of coins to satisfy the ubiquitous demand for general circulation and commercial transactions. The penny's design features the right-facing profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design that by 1999 had become deeply familiar to millions and which seemed unlikely to hold surprises. However, during the production run of 1999 pennies, an unusual series of errors occurred, producing a small subset of coins that exhibited highly unusual and complex minting defects, the most significant of which include severe die misalignment, multiple striking errors, off-center strikes, and unique metallurgical anomalies. Starting with the striking errors, one of the most prominent and visually compelling mistakes is the occurrence of an intense double striking phenomenon on this coin. Double striking refers to the coin being struck multiple times within the press without proper indexing or alignment between strikes, leading to overlapping images and inscriptions that give a ghost-like or shadowed appearance to the design elements. In the case of the 1999 D1 cent penny, these double strikes are notably dramatic, manifesting as distinctly visible duplications of Lincoln's facial features and the digits of the date, as well as the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," both on the obverse and on the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. This strong doubling results from the planchette being partially struck, then shifted, or refed into the press for a second strike at a slight offset angle, creating a surreal aesthetic that is both intriguing and artistically appealing for collectors. Such double strikes are rare in modern coinage, thanks to rigorous quality control in minting operations, so their existence on a 1999 D penny greatly elevates the coin's rarity and desirability. Closely linked to the double striking are instances of severe off-center strikes noted on some specimens of the coin, a classic but highly prized mint error in which the coin blank is improperly positioned in the coining press, causing the design to be hit off from center and resulting in partial images where elements are truncated or partially cropped at the coin's edges. Some of the 1999 D pennies exhibit off-center strikes with degrees of misalignment ranging from mild $5%, 10% to extreme where up to half of the design is missing or shifted dramatically, exposing sizable empty sections of the metal planchard's raw copper zinc alloy. These off-center strikes are not only aesthetically interesting but also underscore the mechanical vulnerabilities that can occasionally occur within minting machinery, even in modern contexts. Importantly, coins that combine both double striking and off-center striking errors are exponentially more valuable due to the rarity of both phenomena co-occurring on the same specimen. Another error of note concerns the die condition and its impact on the coin's surface, especially die cracks and die chips that appear on the 1999 D penny. Dies, the hardened steel stamps that imprint the coin's design on the planchette, degrade after extensive use and develop fissures or fractures known as die cracks, that are transferred onto the coins as raised lines. In some cases, small pieces of the die may chip off, resulting in missing design elements or raised blobs on the coin's surface called die chips. On the 1999 D penny, such die cracks often show up traversing Lincoln's bust or portions of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, making each coin with such errors unique in pattern and extent. Collectors prize these features because they serve as markers of the coin's production life cycle and provide insight into the minting pressures and maintenance practices in effect at the time. Beyond the visual and mechanical errors, the 1999 D penny also demonstrates unusual metallurgical inconsistencies that further reinforce its unique status. Although pennies since 1982 have consisted primarily of zinc cores plated with copper, some error specimens from 1999 exhibit variations in plating thickness, composition, and even trace contamination from other metals, likely due to blending errors during planchette preparation or incomplete plating baths. These compositional differences can have subtle effects on the coin's color, weight, and corrosion resistance, leading to dulled or irregular surface appearances that contrast with standard specimens. Spectrographic analysis has been used to validate the presence of contaminants like nickel or tin in certain examples, which are extremely rare in pennies and thus intensively studied by metallurgists and numismatists alike. Some coins also show signs of planchette defects such as lamination splits or surface pits that reflect manufacturing anomalies, further distinguishing them from regular circulation coins. These physical and chemical anomalies not only add to the coin's enchantment but provide additional layers of authentication, differentiating genuine mint errors from post-mint damage. The mystery surrounding how such an exceptional error coin escaped the United States Mint's normally stringent quality control measures adds to its allure and fuels much numismatic speculation. Theories abound suggesting that the errors may have occurred during a brief mechanical malfunction or quality oversight at the Denver Mint's pressing machinery, possibly linked with a recent die change or fluctuations in planchette supply quality. Given the precision of modern minting operations, it is exceptional for coins with such compounded errors, double strike, off-center strike, die cracks, and metallurgical abnormalities, to be produced and pass inspection, hinting at a very narrow window of vulnerability and rapid correction once discovered. This narrative of flawed perfection appeals not only on technical grounds but also as a compelling historical story of industrial production, human oversight, and chance confluence of multiple failures that have created what collectors now treasure. The financial dimension of this coin's importance is as fascinating as its physical attributes. With only a limited number of verified examples in existence worldwide, each with its own unique pattern and severity of errors, the 1999 D-penny has seen bids in prestigious auctions and private sales approach, and even surpassed the remarkable sum of $987 million. This valuation reflects not just the extreme rarity but the completeness of the coin's era profile and the growing thirst in the collectibles market for extraordinary specimens that blend historical relevance with pronounced fault uniqueness. The coin thus straddles the dual role of cultural artifact and investment vehicle, representing a prime example of how niche collectibles can generate extraordinary economic interest and push market boundaries. Increasingly, high-net-worth collectors and specialized numismatic investors recognize such coins as both tangible heritage and alternative assets diversified from traditional financial instruments. Academic and numismatic research further underscores the importance of the 1999 D-penny by providing detailed insights into the technological, material, and procedural causes underlying its errors. Through microscopy, X-ray fluorescence, and metallography, researchers map die wear, strike patterns, and material inconsistencies to build comprehensive models of failure modes in coin production. These studies enhance the numismatic community's ability to authenticate error coins, grade their condition objectively, and understand broader minting trends. Moreover, such scholarship illustrates the intersection of manufacturing technology and culture, showing how industrial artifacts can transcend functionality to become objects of scientific relevance and societal fascination. The 1999 D-penny thus embodies the nexus of art, science, industry, and cultural storytelling, further elevating its value and stature. On the cultural front, the coin offers a tale of how mistakes and imperfections can yield exceptional value and stimulate human curiosity. Its journey from a mass-produced coin to an ultra-rare collectible mirrors broader themes of chance, discovery, and the celebration of the unusual. Collectors and historians alike view this coin not merely as legal tender but as a symbol of the richness that mundane objects may hold when shaped by accident and time. Communities of collectors share stories, research, and enthusiasm, fostering a culture centered on uncovering and celebrating anomalies, thus enriching the heritage and lore of numismatics. Looking ahead, the precedent set by the 1999 D-penny sparks intriguing discussions about minting policies and the potential role of deliberately produced error coins. While accidental,